Good morning, early game crew, and good morning, Irmo. South Carolina, stand up.
Oh, my gosh.
Woo!
I'm exhausted.
I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. She's exhausted emotionally from watching that baseball game last night. The Irmo Little Leaguers, man. What a better way to start off this show than a team that was down 6-1 going into the final inning, putting up a 6 spot, loading the bases. That's, I believe, 1 out. I don't even know if they got to 2 outs.
I don't think so.
I don't think they even got to 2 outs. So it wasn't maximum drama, but we were really close on drama maxing in that game.
I like, that? In extra innings.
I like it. Drama maxing.
Maxing. We were drama maxing in Williamsport last night. And then a 2-run double. Preston Thorne says still not a walk-off.
I hate to be the person at the party. I hate to be the well-actually guy. A tremendous victory. Awesome time. Comeback victory. All of the above. Not a walk-off.
You're just calling it a game-winning.
Game-winning hit. Game-winning hit. Last inning. All the drama. Everything that you could ask for from a game. It's just not a walk-off.
Now, there was something that happened in Major League Baseball that puts your walk-off theory to the test under a little more scrutiny. Because not last night, 2 nights ago, the Detroit Tigers and Houston Astros were 0-0 in the 9th inning. And a bases-loaded walk won the game for the Tigers. Because it is a walk, is that a walk-off play?
In the most literal sense of the word, it was a walk-off. Walk-off ending game. It was a walk-ending game. We've had that happen here last year, I believe, also. Not technically a walk-off considered by the definition. Still not a walk-off. A walk-off is when a pitcher gives up a home run in the bottom of the inning of the game and walks off the field. That's the definition, and we just like to keep the words here.
Now, if, like last night, ball gets to the wall, home team wins, but the pitcher still has to walk off the mound afterwards.
Nope.
Not the same.
Now, I would grant them since this is Little League, if he would have done an in the park home run, I would have granted him that.
Or would that be a runoff?
Still would have been a walk-off. I'll grant him that.
Okay.
I'll grant that. That's the Little League exception to the rule.
Okay, I like it. A Little League exception to the rule. But nonetheless, a game-winning hit for Irmo last night.
See them walking off. Look at the team from South Dakota walking off.
2-run double to beat South Dakota 7-6. That is, talk about a team that just doesn't quit, man. That is.
Because in a couple innings, they had stranded, the bases loaded, and it's like they just couldn't make it happen. And so you went into this after South Dakota had a huge run in the top of the 7th. Think, okay, are they really, are they out of gas? And I'll be darned, no, they weren't.
And my man Andrew Bogan, who got the game-winning hit last night on SportsCenter right now. Now, it's not live. They didn't keep the kiddos there overnight. But on a recorded interview on SportsCenter right now, getting a little FaceTime. Look at that. What an experience for these kids, too. Getting to have a dominant win to start the thing. You'll lose a close one, and you have 2 games to fight off elimination. And then you come back and do this, down 6-1, entering the bottom of the 7th with your Williamsport run on the line, putting up a 6 spot to end the game. That's remarkable. That is absolutely remarkable. I don't know, what the percentage chances would be for a team that's down 5 runs going into the last inning to end up winning the game. But whatever it is, they went full Han Solo and said, don't tell me what the odds are.
South Carolina strong. I love it. It's awesome.
And then they get a rematch with that team from Nevada for a trip to the U.S. Championship. And then you win the U.S. Championship. You're playing for all the marbles.
Coolest thing I saw on the Twitter machine yesterday, Nick Emenwari, Irmo native. Locked in. Let's go, boys.
Good.
Irmo native, I'm presuming from way out in the Pacific Northwest.
Yep.
Watching his home team boys.
I love that.
So that was cool.
Yeah, that's really, what a year for Irmo Athletics.
Irmo's having a solid year.
Nick Emenwari being one of the first picks in the 2nd round of the NFL draft. Donovan Murphy classifying is now, I think he probably does get a lot of playing time this year as a true freshman. at South Carolina. The Irmo Little League World Series team being one game away from not just winning the U.S. championship, being the best team in the country, but having a chance to play for the Little League World Series title.
Irmo, more than just the okra strut.
Way more than just the okra strut. If you thought that all there was to Irmo, South Carolina was the okra strut, we are here to tell you right now, as a show, that you are mistaken.
Think again.
Think again. Think again. South Carolina, as a state sports scene on ESPN for a couple of reasons, right? South Carolina, the Little League World Series team last night, pulling off that incredible win, and Lenora Sellers revealing Mike Shula's very interesting tactic. Now, the coordinators got to speak yesterday, and I think maybe the free space on the press conference bingo card was that the first question that Mike Shula was going to be asked was about that, the origin of the fake poop motivation.
Yeah, I wouldn't have considered it journalism if they did not ask that question.
Right, we would not have been doing our jobs yesterday
Correct.
if that was not immediately addressed. And it was. So without further ado, we're about to get, this will be cut one, the origin of Mike Shula putting fake poop on the desk of his players whenever they make a mistake on film. Here's what Coach Shula had to say.
That's the first question, huh?
Yes, it is.
A long time ago, actually, it was a really good friend of mine, a line coach, had won 2 Super Bowls and at least 1 national championship. He would always use that phrase when kind of players weren't doing kind of what they've been asked to do. It's kind of like, right on your desk or whatever. So kind of carried, I thought that was kind of funny and kind of carried that with me. Got to the Giants, and I said it, I think I said it in that room right there, and sure enough, the next day there was that object right on my desk. Eli, man, you can thank Eli for that. Eli bought it. So, and then from there, I think it got to the Bills. The guys and I was in an office with the pro personnel staff of the Bills, who are the coolest pro personnel guys in the whole NFL. So they actually texted me when they heard it yesterday. But yeah, so Eli took it and ran with it.
Out of all people that could have been produced the origin for this, I did not expect for it to be Eli Manning.
Peyton, yes. Eli, no.
Yes.
You know, he's a very, the most interesting part about that is that he said it was there the next day. So did he Amazon Prime that immediately? Like, as soon as he heard, he's like, I have to get or did he have the fake poop?
I was going to say, where is that in his collection?
He had to go get it very
cabinet.
quickly, or he's like, oh, I got the perfect thing for this.
I mean, that's the sign that you are built for the bit, is if something like that comes up and you immediately have something to provide to further the bit a little bit, which for the Manning family, they are fans of a little bit of friendly mischief.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't be surprising. Honestly, I think it is a 50-50 proposition if he bought it and got it delivered next day compared to him already having it, because he probably used it on a family member, teammate,
definitely
whatever.
A good brother joke.
Oh, it's a great
it's a great brother joke. But yeah, you feel like Eli, especially at that time in his powers, he can get some fake poop delivered the next day.
You're the quarterback of the New York Giants.
He can get things done. That's when you have to use your celebrity to get things done.
I think even Tommy DeVito has that status, right? Like when you're just the quarterback of the New York Giants and you need prop poo, you have access to prop poo. That's a perk of being a quarterback for a team that is in New York. As bad as the Jets are, I think a Jets quarterback has that pull as well.
I also love the hint of shame that you could hear in Coach Shula's voice. He's like, yeah. You guys found out about it.
Yeah, we're going to start off with this question, huh? And I think everybody in that room kind of nods their head like, yes. Yes, we are.
And when you consider his lineage, you just wonder, is Don up somewhere up and, looking down on his son going, yeah, that's my boy.
That's my boy.
He's probably, probably looking down and saying, can't say I was ever asked that in any type of media setting.
That's a good one.
It has, funny enough, taken a life of its own. And it was on Get Up yesterday. right before we went on air, they were talking about it on ESPN2 on NFL Live, on a replay of NFL Live. That's what they used to kind of end their show at the end of their recorded hour. And I mean, I guess this is a good stress test. All publicity, good publicity.
Yeah, sure. I mean, listen, we're all trying to find something to talk about. This is a gift from the content gods. We'll take it. We'll accept it.
It was a note that I did put when I'll sit in these press conferences because we can't, record them. I will jot down a few notes of a few things. If the coach says something like, "Oh, I really want to talk about that," we'll do that. I definitely at the end of my notepad, I'm like, we have just been presented a gold mine of content. And apparently not just us here in this market.
Everywhere. Reverberated through the coaching circles. The pro personnel stuff, they're probably looking at clips of Lenore's for next year getting their scouting done, and they're like, Coach, you did it.
You did. You motivated him in a way to get to this point. I will say, though, I mean, he mentioned it, them doing that in New York, and then in Buffalo, where Josh Allen was on that team.
Hey.
We have Eli Manning, Josh Allen, now Lenora Sellers as part of this motivational lineage here. Maybe a good omen.
This sounds like a 30 for 30, the traveling quarterback poop. And you check the statistics of all the quarterbacks who have crapped on the OC's desk and see what they've done. I feel like he's in good company.
Yeah. Well, if you're Cutter Woods and Aaron Olin, whenever that happens to you in a meeting, it said, all right, you can think, all right, this happened to Eli Manning and Josh Allen and our starter. I am not above this. I am not above getting this type of ridicule in a team meeting.
I'm trying to check my timeline. Was the Peterman in Buffalo around that time?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
I feel like he was probably a consistent offender.
Oh man, but mostly with game. Well, definitely with game tape. In practice, probably worse. Maybe is there maybe a more outside of Will Levis, a more memeable quarterback in the history of the NFL? So Peterman was there in 2017 and 2018. So I don't believe.
Okay, all right.
That would have been
just missed it
when Mike Shula was there. Double checking. Mike Shula was not an offensive coordinator. He was not on the staff either because 16, 17, he was in Carolina, okay. 18 in New York,
all right.
19 New
York. Just checking.
On the staff after that. But, yeah, Nathan Peterman, would you like to guess Nathan Peterman's career touchdown-interception ratio?
Ooh, he's on the Jameis track.
He puts Jameis to shame.
No.
4 career touchdowns. I will now let you guess how many career interceptions he has.
15.
You're close. 13.
Oof.
With a career 53% completion percentage.
Peterman.
Special player in the hearts of football sickos everywhere.
Did not have the Peterman on our bingo card for this morning.
Nope.
So we are ready to go.
We have the Peterman on the bingo card.
Early contestant for winners.
Yeah.
The Peterman.
Yes. In the first segment of the show, we already have a lead on who one of the winners will be. Anytime that Nathan Peterman is mentioned in a sports talk radio show this early on, you're in for a good one. We'll keep our central question for today the same as it was yesterday because we're almost in game week. There's 10 days. We are 10 days away.
We're here.
When we start this show tomorrow, we'll be in single digits in terms of days away from the start of the season. And if you want to get real specific, we're at 244 hours, 56 minutes, and 30 seconds until kickoff in Atlanta. So our question, what is the state of the team going into the first game against Virginia Tech? But what questions do we still have as camp concludes? I think one of those questions is the offensive line. One of those questions is also who's going to be quarterback number 2? And I use that in a depth chart sense, not the sense that we've been talking about with quarterbacks over the last 2 days. We'll answer those questions because I asked Mike Shula those questions. That's next here on the early game.
Preston here for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. If it's a cracked windshield, it's no problem. They'll come out to your location and they'll replace it for you, usually for free, and they'll work directly with the insurance company to take away the headache. That's right. They'll come out to wherever you are, school, home, work. It does not matter. Absolute Glass will come out and take care of the job for you. Now, if you're at home looking to increase the value of your home, you can do that with new windows or mirrors, and Absolute Glass will take care of that for you too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. Say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at absoluteglassinc.com. That's online at absoluteglassinc.com.
the offensive line and the progress of them, especially as it pertains to run blocking.
Yeah, I think it reminds me a little bit of last year. I hate to kind of compare because, you just kind of can take off with it, but that part of the group that's kind of, they were kind of new in the spring, and then trying to pick up as fast as we could in fall practice. The work together, I think they're communicating much better. They've got a higher comfort level of the calls being made. Every position on the field, you've got to think really, really quick. And yes, when we draw it up on the board, it's easy to kind of go over it and say, yes, I got it. But all of a sudden, the defensive line moves right in front of you, and you got to make a call. And it starts with our center. Every offensive line starts with a communication from the center, and that communication's got to be passed on quickly. So they're doing a better job with that. We're all striving for more consistency.
So Preston, you hear that? He kind of compares them to last year a little bit, but says that there's been a lot of communication, and that's something that that's been a heavy emphasis, which makes sense when you have a majority of your interior offensive line that you kind of project to start as being guys who are transfer players. Getting that cohesiveness on the offensive line is mightily important.
Yeah, this is the main thing. Anytime you talk to an offensive lineman, they always talk about them being able to have conversations with each other, them talking to each other. In fact, there was a clip from Deion Dawkins from the Buffalo Bills where he said that they have created their own language, which just consists of a bunch of noises with they understand.
A series of grunts.
Yeah, grunts and clicks, honestly. Matter of fact, we'll find it and we'll bring it back here. Offensive line is about communication because all five have to be working as one, and they all have to be on the same accord regardless of what is happening, regardless of what kind of fire blitz or zone blitz or dog, double A gap, safety, whatever happening. The offensive line has to know what is occurring. They have the physical traits. We get that. We got that. Now they have to be able to take the mental part of the game and be able to execute, and that takes that takes time.
Now, how much of an emphasis does that put, or I guess more workload does that put on someone like Boaz Stanley, who since the spring has kind of been penciled in as the starter at center? This guy played a lot of football in his time at Troy, but is now making the jump to South Carolina. Being the center and kind of being the tip of the spear on that offensive line does naturally bear a lot of responsibility. But given the group right now where a lot of the interior guys, again, still trying to get acclimated, still trying to get into that rhythm, how much more pressure does that put on a player like him?
Tremendous amount of pressure because Javon Gwynn was the center last year, correct? Do I have that?
Rashawn Lee.
Rashawn Lee was the center. I'm sorry, he was the center last year, and he was a guy who had played multiple years within the offense. He, I'm assured, helped out LaNorris in some of those early stages when Norris was trying to figure out the offense or the game was moving a little bit quick to him. Being able to rely on a center that can make some of those calls or take some of the pressure off you really matters. Now I think those situations may be reversed, whereas Boaz is a veteran, but he's not a veteran in this offense.
Different, yes.
And so there's going to be little nuances, little calls, little checks that he has to make that may take him some time to develop as you move into the season, because the teams that you play are not the same as the team that you've been playing, which is your own team.
And now when it comes to the backup quarterback situation, all camp long, Shane Beamer has said, if the game was today, Luke Doty would be the backup quarterback. So I was curious as to what Mike Shula thought about the progress of the quarterbacks on the roster not named LaNorris Sellers, and this will be cut 12.
Yeah, I think progress for sure. I think all those guys have done a nice job. Now Luke's got obviously more college experience in general, and then Aaron Cutter have done same thing. They're kind of a microcosm of what I just talked about. Just they've gotten better, considerably better since day one of fall camp. Both of them are just they get better with each rep, and so it's good competition right there, and it's a good room. They're all pushing each other, positive, and they can help each other, not just motivationally, but just thinking faster. Just remind each other about certain things, and so, and again, with that position especially, you got to make sure that you take what you see or what you do in the meeting rooms and what we go over, and have them go over, and then apply that to the practice field quickly. So they process quickly.
Now, what this tells me is that Luke Doty is currently the backup quarterback right now because of his significant in-game experience compared to an Aaron Nolan or a Cutter Woods. But that kind of fuels my idea of that won't be the case once we get a couple weeks into the season. I think that gives that a little more credence.
Yeah, and so I hear you, Coach Shula. I accept your answer. However, I have to push back a little bit because when you say that they've progressed, where did they progress from? Did they progress from an F to a D? From a D to a C?
That matters.
I think that's very important, and we need to know that. And I think my reading of the situation is that they progressed from maybe further back than we may have thought, especially Aaron Nolan coming in with a year of college experience. Because this is a little bit of a falsehood to say that Luke has so much college experience. He's been on the team for a long time. He hasn't played a bunch of quarterback in games. He's played
It was a while ago when he did.
And he played a long time ago. So I hear that, but I'm not necessarily, me personally, I'm not necessarily buying that. I would like to see those younger guys take a step forward and assume that role, especially Cutter and Air, because they're going to be the guys who have the future of the program in their hands.
Do you think that answer may be more of a way to mask what the nature of the competition is like too? Publicly?
There is some possibilities to that.
Possibilities. We'll sit on that one for a little bit. But coming up next, Clayton White spoke as well. One of the big question marks on this defense, the defensive line. That's where you've had to replace the most production. What's the state of the Gamecock defensive line going into week one? I asked Clayton White that. We'll hear his answer next on the early game. When it comes to barriers to getting care for your physical therapy and recovery, maybe from a surgery or an injury or just, managing chronic conditions, sometimes that barrier can be travel. Sometimes you have to coordinate travel. Sometimes you're not able to get to where you need to be because of the injury that you have. And the whole thing you're recovering from can be the thing that prevents you from getting care. But with Vertex PT Specialist, that skilled physical therapy is delivered right to your door because their outpatient home health team will bring one-on-one clinic-level care straight to your home, serving both Lexington and Richland counties. So it doesn't matter whether you're recovering from surgery, managing that chronic condition, or you just need that convenience of home-based care. They've got you covered. If you need that assistance, call 803-973-0100 and let Vertex PT Specialist bring recovery to you.
Highway 321 near Busby Road. We have a report of an accident there. Also, I-20 eastbound at Broad River Road. One more in downtown Columbia, Whaley Street at Wayne Street. And that forecast, yeah, looking pretty decent. Last day of the 90s for at least a little while. Cloudy and 90 today. Some scattered thunderstorms tomorrow, but cooler temperatures. Actually, scattered storms Friday and Saturday. 81 for your high, 82 on Saturday, 72 right now on the early game.
Before we get to Clayton White and his answer on the defensive line, which was one of the biggest things I wanted to hear about yesterday whenever he spoke, we'll go to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines because David is on the line wanting to talk some Gamecock football. David, good morning. Welcome to the early game.
Morning, guys. I think they're masking the situation because, like I talked to y'all the other week, if a full-time quarterback room can't beat out a part-time quarterback, then we're in trouble. Because if they're pushing Doty as number 2, then like it or not, some of the other teams are going to have to waste time looking at game film of him in case something happens to Lenore. And also, I hope y'all have some fun with the original Beamer ball towels I dropped off for you. And
yes.
lastly, I know y'all have a full plate now because it's so close. But in the future, I wouldn't mind like Preston's pointers breaking down terminology because there's a lot of people I know that they don't know things like Sam, Will, or Mike, and just kind of help people understand the physical chest that football is. Appreciate what you do, and have a good one.
Oh, love it. Yeah, thank you for your call, David. Yeah, real quick, Preston, the difference between our friends Sam, Will, and Mike as linebackers.
Really quickly, Sam is the strength of the. This one gets. Jen, hit the button, please. Sam is the.
Get out. Go.
Here we go. Sam is the strength of the defense. So is Sam. Remember, football is very simple because they like to keep things as simple as possible. You have to remember who's playing it. A bunch of dudes who run their heads into each other. Sam, S, strength. Will, W, weak. Mike, mid. Not mid, as in yesterday, but the middle of the defense.
Middle,
so that's a very quick one. And David, that's a great point. One of the things we try not to do is to assume that everybody's knows everything. And even within that, there's a lot of things that we can learn. So we did have some plans to do something very similar to that because we sort of run through terms very, very quickly, and everybody's not necessarily on the same page. So that's a great pointer.
Yep. Professor Preston.
Ooh, I like it.
Ooh, I like that. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Professor P.
Professor. Oh, there you go.
Oh, now we're live workshopping. This
Sitting
is good.
next to student vinegar. Sorry.
And we'll have produced the P and the vinegar,
Yeah.
which, of course, as we learned from Preston's previous football experience, a necessity.
Yes.
Correct.
You bring it in any way that you can, in any form. And that's how we'll do it here. Hopefully, and to me, this is one of the biggest X factors for this defense in order to be a top 20 unit again like it was last year. If the defensive line brings that P and vinegar, you're probably in a good spot. You're stopping the run really well, which is the ultimate goal of this defense, and Shane kind of reiterated that in the presser the other day. But I asked Clayton White yesterday where the defensive line is right now, who has stood out in terms of taking over some of those spots. And that'd be cut 18.
Yes, obviously all of them, because we lost everybody, so that's not a surprise. But I think guys like Monkel Goodwine has really stepped up his game, and just day to day and consistency. The same thing with Goodwine with Dindy. I love his power, his strength. He's one of our best guys in the weight room. He's starting to bring that stuff to the field. Sometimes guys who have that makeup like him can't bring it to the field. I think he's doing a great job of just taking the coaching from Coach Robinson first and foremost, and Coach Dove, of just bringing it to the field. Then you also have the old school guy, Nick Barrett, doing a great job of making plays and just being more of a playmaker than a plug.
So a couple things. Sometimes when I ask a question like that about specifics about who might be standing out, sometimes it's the first player they mention is the one that I kind of gravitate towards, because maybe that's just the one that's top of mind. Monkel Goodwine was the first player mentioned. But I like how he went into detail with Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy, taking what he's gotten in the weight room, the gains he's made in the weight room, and applying that to the football field, and applying what is being taught by T-Rob, who is an incredible defensive line talent developer, as we have seen in this program over the last few years. Those were really the two positive takeaways that I could take from Clayton's answer.
Yeah, and so that idea of some guys, you hear some of these numbers in the weight room, he squats 700 pounds and he does 225 a million times, and then you look on the field and it does not translate. And that does happen that happens more than you actually think, because, hey, if you get in the weight room and lift, you will get stronger. Now, some people get more stronger, but that's not necessarily athleticism. The opposite of that was a guy that I played with, Cecil Caldwell, who, if you saw his numbers in the weight room, you'd be like, okay, what's that?
He's not making Bruce Feldman's freak list.
Not at all. Well, yeah, he would, because then when you saw him play on the field, you'd be like, what? How did that turn into that? Two guys, Cecil Caldwell and Mo Thompson, were not weight room dudes at all, but on the field, they were more explosive, more powerful, stronger than anybody else. The old saying, like, country strong, or that type of deal. Like, yeah, he can just lift a tree. He can't lift a weight, but you put that, he can pull a truck or something behind him. So that is something that is intriguing to me. Also, he said about Nick Barrett is that he wants him to become more of a playmaker than a plug. And what he means by that is sometimes, especially your bigger guys, they might be playing D-line, holding your gap. You're playing your responsibility, so technically you're doing your job, but you're not necessarily being dynamic and making plays, making the extra play, or being able to make something happen within the line. So that's what those guys last year did so well. Obviously, TJ and Tonka being amongst the top of that. But if you have another guy that can get in there, play your position, do your job, which is the minimum, but now, once you do that, can you go make a play now?
Yeah, I think that's one thing that made TJ Sanders a much better player. And we talked about the consistency. We saw the flashes early, and then you saw the consistency later on. TJ Sanders at times could have been a plug because he played his position really well in terms of just, this is your responsibility, like you mentioned. But then he was making plays in the backfield. And I think that might be, if you need a visual representation of what that might be, it's instead of maybe stopping somebody for a 2-yard gain, you're creating a 2-yard loss. And that is really what makes an elite defense, is when you're not just holding your ground, but you're able to make the offense move backwards in a game that is made up of violent real estate acquisition.
Yeah, make a play. Go out there and make something happen. With TJ, it's probably, TJ, I'm pretty sure the coaching was the opposite. Like, hey, TJ, don't take as many risks. We need you sometimes to sit here and play your gap.
Sometimes you need to be a plug.
Right. So that was probably the opposite with TJ, because he was so dynamic in the run game. But with Nick, if he can continue to be consistent, play his gap, do all the things that he's supposed to do with the defense, and then on top of that, maybe make a play here or there, that obviously brings more value to the line.
It was pretty insightful. And Clayton White, when he's talking about the freshman linebackers, was also incredibly insightful, and it's something that I think Preston can certainly relate to. We'll hear what Clayton White had to say in that regard when the early game continues.